All right, next we're going to talk about how to submit the FAFSA. There are three methods to submit for the student and the parent, if applicable, to submit the FAFSA. First, you have the FAFSA on the web. This is a web-based application to file online. The parent and the student must have what's called a PIN number. PIN number serves as your electronic signature to sign the FAFSA. Okay? The student and the parent both have to have a PIN number to sign it. Okay? So in my example we're going to go through later, I have to have a PIN number, and at least one of my parents does. What about sister if she's attending college? Does she have to have her own PIN number? The answer would be yes. The second way, and the older way to fill out the FAFSA, is the paper version. This must be downloaded or it can be ordered. And then this is fairly new over the last couple years. They also have what's called FAFSA on the phone. FAFSA on the phone is where you call the Department of Education and you relay your information to a customer service representative. They key in your information. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes to process your application. Items that you're going to need when you submit the FAFSA will be the 2011 tax returns, W-2s, untaxed income records, business, farm, and investment records. You'd also want to have Social Security cards handy for the student and the parent. I mentioned this earlier. The online process is very, very user-friendly. When you're completing the application online, you have a chat option where you can actually chat with someone and ask them a question. You can call them at an 800 number, or you can also send them an email as well. Okay? Off to the right, you're going to see what's called help and hints. I had to cut that out of my screenshots so you could see this, the shot that I wanted you to see better. But off to the right, it's what's called help and hints. That's going to help you answer a lot of the questions that are on the FAFSA. So take advantage of this. You click on Contact Us. The screen will come up, and then you choose what option you want. Types of applications continued. You have the FAFSA on the web. When you're completing the application online, you're going to go to FAFSA.gov. If you do the application online for the 12-13 school year, you can also do a renewal application for the 13-14 school year. Remember, you have to complete the FAFSA once a year. The best time to do that is when it's tax time. So, your student's going to make it through the 12-13 school year. Next January 1st, 2013 is going to roll around. The 13-14 application is going to be available. It's going to be based on 2012's income. You can select the renewal application option, and a lot of your student and your information will already be pre-populated, so it'll be just a matter of you updating income and asset information and household size information as well. Question?
Why is it important to do that around January or around tax time? Is there only limited dollars for the year or something that we're dealing with?
Great question. The question is why is it important to do the application early in the year before you get your taxes done? Are there limited dollars? That answer would be yes. We are going to talk about work-study dollars later in the presentation. We're also going to talk about SEOG funds. These funds are specifically earmarked for certain students. They're awarded to students that complete their FAFSA early in the year. Once that money is gone, the only way the school can recover funds to award other students is if those students stop attending. Okay? And what schools are going to do is they're going to go by the application receipt date that's on your FAFSA. Okay? So if you rush home tonight, do the FAFSA tonight, your application receipt date that the schools are going to use is going to be January the 19th. But you can still go back and make corrections to add your 2011 tax information, but they're going to go by tonight's date if you submit it tonight. Okay? Great questions. I thank you for asking questions. That gives me a little bit of a break. Okay, when you go online, it's customized. You can do an initial FAFSA entry. You can do a renewal application. You can do FAFSA corrections. You can provide signatures. Continuous save FAFSA. We had a question about that a little while ago. And you can view transaction history. So if you go home tonight and you submit the FAFSA and you use estimated information, that's considered an 01 transaction. Let's say a month from now, H&R Block gets your taxes done, you're going to go and make corrections. Once you make corrections, that's considered an 02 transaction. Okay, so you can view each transaction on that bottom bullet there. You want to avoid being charged a fee to submit the FAFSA. Completing the FAFSA and processing it is free. There's no charge. I'd encourage you to go to FAFSA.gov. You can go to FAFSA.com, but they're going to charge you a fee. They're going to charge you $79.99 to submit your FAFSA for the first year. Okay? In years past, because you were such a valued customer at FAFSA.com, if you came back for future years, they were only going to charge you $49.99 each year. Okay? But this year they came out with something new. You can sign up for what's called FAFSA Gold. So this year they're going to charge you $79, like they would anyone else. You come back for next year, they're not going to charge you $49.99. They're going to charge you $63.99. Because you're a valued customer, they're going to give you a 20% break. But you're not saving any money. If you take advantage of this information that I have available for you tonight, it's not going to cost you a dime to find funds for higher education for your son or daughter. Okay? If you get stuck, contact me. It doesn't matter if your son or daughter is attending Baker College. I'll be happy to help. One last thing on FAFSA.com. You can sign up for the college plan. They'll help you for 8 years, up to a bachelor's degree. They're only going to charge you $299.99. All right, next we're going to talk about another handout that you have. It's called FAFSA on the Web Worksheet. Okay? This is a tool that you can use to submit the application online. You have a handout of that. This is a 4-page booklet containing instructions. There are 24 questions in 4 sections. But remember, that is not the application. This is just a tool to help you with the online process. All right, next we're going to talk about a PIN number. To get a PIN number, you can go to www.pin.ed.gov. You can use this to sign a FAFSA and other Department of Education documents electronically. This may be used by students and parents throughout the aid process, including subsequent years. So, you're going to use a PIN number to sign the FAFSA for your students' 12-13 FAFSA. 13-14 rolls around, you're going to do the FAFSA again. Use the PIN number for that as well. Now, a lot of us won't remember our PIN number from year to year. You go to that website, you can choose the retrieval option to get your PIN number again. Okay? They also have what's called a real-time PIN, where instead of going on there and answering these questions, well, you're going to answer these questions anyway. They're going to ask you questions like the social security number of the applicant, the name, date of birth. Address, zip code, challenge question, things of that nature. If you go through all this, you're going to submit it, and then you're going to wait like 1 to 5 days. They'll send you an email letting you know that your PIN number is ready. You can go retrieve it. Or you can choose the real-time PIN option and create your own right on the spot. Okay? That would be the bottom 2 fields that are up there. Anyone have any questions? Okay. In the back? Well, that's a good question. The question is in regards to what if you have 2 students that are attending college for this fall, for instance. Let's say that the older one has not yet submitted their FAFSA, and the one that's going to be a freshman this fall wants to submit theirs first. Is there any certain order that needs to be submitted? The answer would be no. Good question. Yes? Great question. The question is, what if the parent already has a PIN number because they've already attended college, either in undergrad or graduate studies? Can they use their PIN number to sign their child's FAFSA? That answer would be correct. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I applied for a PIN today. It said it would take 1 to 3 days to clear for Social Security.
That is correct.
I have to wait before they clear that before I can submit the application.
Good question. The question is I requested my PIN number today. I did not choose to use the real-time PIN option where I could create my own. I'm sorry?
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. So you did choose the real-time, but they told you it's going to take a couple days for it to be available. Can I submit my FAFSA now? You can. Just whenever you get the PIN number notification, go back in and electronically sign the application. Good question. Yes?
So you can get the PIN number first and then apply, or you can't apply without the PIN?
Okay, the question is...
I'm confused.
Okay. The question is, can I submit the FAFSA now without the PIN? You may do so but you have to remember, once you get the PIN, to go back in and electronically sign it, okay? It won't be processed without the PIN number being applied. The PIN number serves as an electronic signature to sign it. So yeah, you can go in and complete the application tonight. You can wait a couple days for your PIN number to be available. Once your PIN number comes in, then you have to go in and apply the signature to the application.
So you don't really, then you don't really get in on the 19th. It's not till you sign it that that's your actual date.
The question is in regards to what application receipt date do they use. The application receipt date that they use is the date that it was actually submitted with all the information and the PIN. Okay, so if you're waiting for your PIN, it's going to be important for you to apply the PIN as soon as you get notification that it's available.
And then that will be the date that it's,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Question in the back?
For those of us that are a year early, can we get those pins this year?
Okay, are you saying that you have a junior this year? Okay, we have a family that has a junior this year. Can we go ahead and get a PIN number now? The answer would be yes. That way you'll be prepared for next year. Okay? All right, we're going to move along. We're going to talk about the FAFSA on the Web confirmation page. When you're done submitting the application, you're going to receive what's called a FAFSA on the Web confirmation page. This is going to give you an estimate of Pell Grant eligibility, an indication of student loan eligibility. There's going to be links to College Navigator for detailed college information, programs offered, tuition rates, graduation rates, etc. And I believe we have an example up here of what a confirmation page looks like. This is what you're going to receive when you're all finished with the FAFSA. The purple box is for your confirmation number, the date that it was submitted, and the time. The DRN number, we'll talk about that real quick. The DRN number is different from the PIN number. DRN is a data release number. Let's say that your student starts out at school A this fall. Things don't quite go well at school A, and they decide they want to go to school B. What they can do is they can contact the financial aid office at the other schools they're looking at. They can give that school their DRN number. That gives the school permission for that school to add their school code to your student's FAFSA. Okay? What they'll do is they'll add their school code, they'll have access to the FAFSA, and then that'll give them an opportunity to package aid for your student. Okay? So you can get an idea of what they'll receive at schools B, C, D, etc. Now the DRN number you can share, but the PIN number is confidential. You should not share that with anyone. Continuing, the red box in the middle is a Pell Grant estimate. In our example here, this student would be eligible for $1,176 for the school year. The box off to the left, the blue one, is the EFC. I think that says $4,443. Very bottom box, the orange box, is pointing to Stafford loan eligibility. In this example, it's $5,500. I don't think I talked too long about school codes. When you submit the FAFSA, you can list up to 10 school codes. Every college and university in the United States has a school code number. Okay? If you need a school code number, through the application process, you can search for the schools. You can contact the high school counselor's office, or you can contact me. Any of us can provide you with a school code number. You don't have to list 10, but you need to list at least one. Okay? Yes? As soon as you submit the FAFSA, you're going to get a confirmation page. Yes. I'm sorry? Okay, the question is there an advantage of listing a school that has a higher tuition rate than another one? Schools are all going to have what's called a cost of attendance. The cost of attendance includes a lot of different components like tuition, books, travel, standard living expenses. So if you list like a Harvard, cost of attendance there would be $30,000, $40,000 for a year. If you list a community college, your cost of attendance could be like $8,000, okay? What financial administrators do is they take the cost of attendance and subtract out the EFC. So let's say at a Harvard, to make it easy, let's say that cost of attendance is $40,000. You submit your FAFSA and you get a $5,000 EFC. That EFC is not going to change. No matter what school you go to, it's going to stay the same. But your cost of attendance is going to vary depending on what school you use. So at Harvard, if we have $40,000 cost of attendance, less a $5,000 EFC, that means that Harvard can package need-based aid up to $35,000, the difference, okay? At a community college, let's say that the cost of attendance is $8,000, then they could only package the difference between 8 and the $5,000 EFC, which would be 3 with need-based aid. Okay, so if you want to get an idea of how much your student could receive at the schools that have a higher cost of attendance, you could do that. Okay. All right, we already talked about the DRN versus the PIN. Continuing with the confirmation page on these for these schools here, we have about 5 of them. It gives us the graduation rate, retention rate, and transfer rates at those different schools that are on there. And you can go in and add schools, take schools off, things of that nature. It's a pretty easy process. You'll see screenshots of that later on.
Just going back to school codes, if she's already committed to a school, is there a benefit to adding other schools, like in a just-in-case scenario, or does it really not matter?
Good question. The question is, what if my student is already committed to a school? Is there advantage of adding other schools? You can use that in shopping with schools. For instance, when we talk about scholarships here later on, you can take a package at school A and talk to school B and say, this is what we're getting at school A. What can you do? Can you match this scholarship that school A is giving us, for instance?
Even if she's already committed to the other one?
Well, if she's committed, she probably could change her mind, right? If she's getting aid at the other school. So that's something you may want to consider as well. Okay, next we're going to talk about the FAFSA on the web demo site. You got a website that you can go to there, fafsademo.test.ed.gov. You can go in there to familiarize yourself with the different questions that are asked on the FAFSA. You can enter information. Sometimes this site is tricky. Early in the year last year, 2011, in January, I went in there and I keyed in information to get my presentation ready to go out to the high schools. And it did not calculate an EFC for me. And I think we had a question down front here about calculating an EFC. And then later, a few months later, when I was doing our campus presentation, I went in there again and put in information, and it did calculate an EFC for me. So if you go to this website, it gives you a username and password. You can go in and see the different screenshots, things of that nature. You can answer the questions. Most often, it's probably going to give you a 99,999 EFC no matter what you put in. Okay, so be really careful with that if you decide to go through that. But this is just a practice site. And it's available in December for the following year. Okay, so well, your students are most likely going to be sophomores for next year. They're going to be doing the 13-14 application. This demo site will be available in December, so you can go in there and kind of play around with it to see what the questions are going to be like for the 13-14 school year. The next screenshot that we have up here is for the paper FAFSA. This can be downloaded by going to the federalstudentaid.ed.gov website, or you can call the 1-800-4FED-AID number to have one mailed to you. And earlier we talked about the FAFSA on the web. This is where you're going to call an 800 number, relay information to a Department of Education customer service representative. They're going to enter the information for you, and then they'll send you what's called a student aid report